Welcome to Spotlight. I'm your host, Amitha. Join us weekly to get inspired by guests from different walks of life. The COVID 19 pandemic has taught us that the external world is unpredictable, so it's best to look inner for the stability and the wellness that we all search for. Our guest today will guide us further in this direction. It's with pleasure I welcome back to our show award winning author of The Seven Essentials to Transform Your Life, Dr. Barun Gorain. Dr. Gorain, it's great to have you back.
Thank you, Amitha. I'm so glad to be back here.
Great. Just for the benefit of our first time viewers, let's first talk a little bit more about your upbringing and education.
Yes. So I'm an engineer and I have been working in the resource sector for the last 25 years. And the focus has been on technology, how to bring new technologies and innovation to the resource sector. So that has been my focus. Now, I have been working in various parts of the world. I started my career in India, and then I moved to Australia. I worked there for quite a few years, and then moved to British Columbia in Canada. And then I had some time working in Alaska and South America, and finally moved to Toronto, working for a major gold mining company. So while I was doing all this, technology has been fantastic for the humanity. That's something that we all know. And what I realized that even though technology is supposed to make our life better, happier, healthier, what I'm finding that the opposite seems to be true. In the sense that there's a lot of promise about technology, but the issue is how to leverage the technology for our benefit. This is something which I found is completely missing. And this is where I'm trying to bring in some of my experience to see how we can improve our life and have a happier, healthier, and a vibrant living. So that's really kind of the background I'd like to start with.
Amazing. You're absolutely right. I mean, technology does make life easier, but yet a lot of us, most of us are still searching for that key to the true happiness. Like it's almost like we get instant gratification with what technology offers us, but it doesn't last for good. So it's very well put. So it's very interesting. How did you transition to become an author? What inspired you to be an author?
Okay, that's a good question. See, as I said before, I was in this in my profession working in the corporate world for the last 20, 25 years. In fact, I was in Toronto working for a major corporation. What I found that many of my colleagues, who are top professionals, will be asking the same question: that they had a wonderful, schooling, education, they are having a great career, and they're making good wealth, for themselves, for the family. But unfortunately, they don't feel happy, they don't feel fulfilled, and their health is not good either, even though they say they've been doing all the right things. So that kind of intrigued me. That why is it that we spend our whole life trying to build a career, a profession, and then after 25 years we tell, look, I don't feel fulfilled, I don't feel happy. So that really intrigued me. That why is it that all these things that we think are going to make us happy doesn't take us that far. So in fact at that time I felt the same about myself as well. So that's when my curiosity began. And as I said before, as part of my profession, I had the opportunity to travel across 6 different continents, various countries, and I met so many professionals, non-professionals, people on the streets, farmers, yogis, you just name it. So I interacted with so many people to realize that we're all looking for the same thing, this happiness, but unfortunately, somehow it's not happening. So that really prompted me to really do some deep research into it. Why is it that despite all this, we're not so happy? So to cut the long story short, so the outcome of that was my research findings, and I put all those findings into my book, and that's how the book came about. So initially, the book was supposed to be my own notes, for my own well-being. But eventually, some of my friends and family said, "Why don't you publish it so that others can also sort of, share? You can share the experience with others as well." So that's how it all began.
Amazing. And it's so interesting that you have been in different parts of the world. And at the core, every human is searching for the same thing despite what technology is offering them. So it's very relieving to know that you're not alone when you feel like technology, has not brought you true happiness. And it's great that that curiosity in you that got sparked and went on to become research and finally a book is not just helping yourself, you're helping others with this program that's called Seven Essential 7I program, which is pretty much detailed in the book. And we are grateful that you're going to tell us a little bit, hints of it, and then people can get to read your book. And I understand there's also a live workshop based on this book that's going to happen soon. So we're going to talk all about it in a minute. But before that, it's time for a short break. Welcome back to Spotlight. We are talking to the award winning author of Seven Essentials to Transform Your Life, Dr. Barun Gorain. So, Dr. Gorain, it's great to know how your journey took you to become an author eventually and how the book came to be. Now, tell us a little bit more about the book. I know it's hard to give full details about it, but tell me what it's very intriguing. What is this Seven Essential 7I program?
Okay, Seven I is all about connecting with. Uh, it's all about real connections that actually matter for a happier, healthier, and a vibrant living. Now, what I found based on my research that if you're not connected with the seven essentials, doesn't matter how wealthy you are or how educated you are, it is very unlikely you'll be fulfilled. So that's the reality. So these seven essentials are so fundamental to our living that if you're not connected with them, it is not going to be good in the long run. So these seven essentials are essentially breathing life, which is all about how to maximize our lung capacity so that we breathe well. The second is all about optimum hydration, which is all about making sure we drink the right kind of water. And third is to connect with the cosmic energies, including the sunlight, our Mother Earth, because they are life-giving. Without sun, there is no life. And the fourth is mindful eating, which is not just about eating, which is about the principles of eating. So we all, get completely intrigued with the diets and the diet frenzy, but it's not really the diet that makes people healthy. It's the principles of eating. So in my book, I talk about three principles of eating, and then the right kind of activities: physical, mental, and social. Very, very important. And then comes the elimination of toxins, because uh, as a natural part of living, we produce a lot of toxins naturally and also unnaturally coming from outside. So the if we can remove those toxins or eliminate those toxins, the better we are from a health point of view. And finally, it's all about vibrant living, how to bring all these in together so that you can maximize your life force inside you so that you can do what you are supposed to do, in this life.
Amazing. So it's like a whole body wellness or mind, body, soul wellness. Uh, and it's interesting. These are some basic things which we would think like logically people should understand about. Why do you think it does not come to the attention of people when they live their day-to-day lives that these are essential? Because like you said, these are basic essentials. Why do you think we miss that in the modern world?
Because, you know, we take them for granted. We breathe naturally, sun is already there, so because these are for granted, and the human tendency is that anything that is for granted, we just don't pay attention to it. Rather, we pay attention to a cell phone, the smartphones, or YouTubes and all kinds of entertainment. And the nature of our mind is that we like to be always entertained. Either professionally or socially or doing something. That's the tendency for us to look around and observe what's really important for us is something not really one of our major priorities. That's a tendency, I would say. But in general, what I find that that is happening more and more because we are losing connection with ourselves, because we get so entrapped into the mundane world, mundane things, that we're losing connection with ourselves, and that's the reason why we get so entrapped into entertainment. And that's where I feel we're losing this connection with things that actually matter. So that's where I strongly feel that these seven essentials are so important. I'm not saying that we cannot watch TV or we cannot entertain ourselves. That's fine, as long as we're connected with things that actually matter.
Very well said. I mean, everything in moderation is good. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people will agree over this past year or more, given the COVID pandemic lockdown. I believe a lot of people have come to that realization as to what really matters. Yes, technology has helped to stay connected, but there's a lot of self care that has happened over the past year, a lot of focus on what was being ignored prior to the pandemic. So, this is such a great book that if I had to categorize it, it's like a self help book to make you realize what is in the end very important. Now, for your readers, what would you say is different about the way you have presented this book in comparison to other self-help books that also promise a key to finding true happiness?
Yes, I think every book has their own intention, and they're all good by all means. See, most of the books that I've seen, they are more focused on one or two aspects. Somebody focuses on how to breathe well. Somebody focuses on how to do exercises. Somebody focuses on something else. So they all individually focus. But our life is not, compartmentalized. Our life is a whole, is a holistic life. So I strongly feel that you need to bring at least the key essentials into our day-to-day living. Yes, you need to know all the individual segments, how to breathe well, what's the right water to drink, how to connect with the cosmic energies, exercises, your professional career, they're all important. But unfortunately, if you don't know how to bring them all together, if one of them is out of balance, then nothing else works. For example, if you do not know how to hydrate yourself very well, you won't feel very good. If you do not know how to breathe very well, obviously you won't feel very energized. So everything is important. How to bring them back, how to bring them holistically is something that is more important than have expertise in one or two individual items.
Very well said. So it's great that it's, again, like I mentioned before, it's fulfilling in a whole way, mind, body, soul in different aspects. And then as readers read this book, they're guided how they can help themselves to realize these essentials to transform their life to a happier life. But now what's even more exciting is you're actually going to be live in person, actually guiding some of our viewers who will be probably registering for the workshop, including myself. Um, Tell us a little bit more about the live workshop that's upcoming, that's based on this book, that will probably actually demonstrate some of the principles that you're talking about in the book.
Yes. So finally, after 1 or 2 years of discussing about the book, in social media and reading about it, I think now it's time to actually have hands-on. And there has been a lot of requests from a lot of people that, look, I understand all this, but how to make it happen for us? So that's where I feel that okay, now it's time to really have a hands-on workshop where we can actually go through all of them, and see how do we actually bring them into our day-to-day living. That's really the purpose. So this workshop is happening in a very natural kind of a setting in Northern Ontario, Minden, which is about 3 hour drive from Toronto. And it's a beautiful place. It's a nice retreat center. And and this center is actually owned by a couple who are very much into holistic lifestyle themselves. So it's a very good kind of an environment to actually make this happen, and it's a beautiful place anyway. So that will be an ideal place, I thought, for us to be part of that, because now I can feel the connection. You can see the blue sky for a change. If you're living in the middle of Toronto, or you can connect with the spring water. Spring water is a very hydrating water, which is there in the local areas. You can go and collect your fruits and berries. We can learn about deep breathing. We'll talk about how to connect with sunlight, how to connect with the earth, and then we'll talk about what's the right kind of food to eat, and we'll actually prepare food together, healthy food together. There has to be some kind of a community spirit as well, and that's part of that seven essential, to be, to feel connected with everybody, not just with what matters to you, but with everybody around you, socially. And then we'll also talk about, so I also have one or two experts, or I'd say partners, who also are very good in Reiki healing, for example. One of the professors from York University, he'll be teaching some yoga practices for deep breathing. So what I'm trying to do is, this workshop is going to help us to provide a hands-on kind of experience as to how do you bring these seven essentials into our day-to-day living.
Amazing. So it's a workshop that helps people to help themselves by actually now demonstrating it rather than maybe trying to decipher it from your book, but they can actually now learn exactly how to do it. So where can our viewers get more information about registering?
Yes, so there is a workshop website, which is 7i, which is letter I, 7i, lifestyle.ca/workshop. So it's www.7ilifestyle.ca/workshop. And you can get more details about it.
Amazing. So at the workshop, like we mentioned, they learn about the seven essentials, 7I program in action. So then they can take it beyond the workshop and implement in their own lives. And then there's no worry about finding happiness in the midst of advanced technology. And they can take it to the rest of the worlds, and either through your book or through the workshop, they actually learn the key to true happiness finally. So this is great, viewers. So do check it out. Go to the website, register. And yes, who wouldn't want to get away from the city after being
Yes.
locked down for the longest time and connect with what's so natural all around you and within you? So we have more to talk about, but before that, it's time for a short break. Welcome back to Spotlight. We are talking to award winning author Dr. Barun Gorain. So, this is great, Dr. Gorain. We heard about how the live workshop is happening, where it's happening, and where our viewers can register. But at the core of it, again, it's your book. So, where can our viewers also find information to get their hands on your book?
Yes, so this book is available at Amazon, and Indigo, and most of the online bookstores. So this is available at Amazon. So that's the best way to really get the book if you need.
Great. So, through this book, viewers, as we heard, we are going to learn about the seven essentials, like Dr. Barun Gorain mentioned, about breathing, about hydration, about the energies around you, about the principles of eating, about activities, about releasing toxins, and most importantly about living life vibrantly by bringing these all together. So it's something that I would say is essential in this life, uh, especially in today's world as we're coming out of a lockdown. So do go check out the book and do go register for the workshop. Now, Dr. Gorain, tell me how you are practicing what you're preaching.
See, the way it started out is um, whatever I have written in the book is something was my own notes for my own well-being. So it's basically for designed for myself to start with. Then I realized that everybody else can also benefit. That's the reason why I published the book. So the practice has never stopped. Ever since I found out all these very essentials. So essentially, what I do in the morning, I live very close to the lake, so I have to have the dip in the lake there, enjoy the sunshine if there is sun around, or put your feet on the ground, go in the nature. There's a couple of parks around me. I go there in the morning. So I try my best to practice, and this is something that is a lifelong thing. You start to bring more and more, more and more. So the real benefit I'm getting is I feel very energized than I used to maybe 10 or 20 years ago. So I strongly feel that what this has given me has given me a new meaning, to basically to connect with things that actually matter. So when I go around and see all these beautiful birds, and there are many of them actually in Toronto, if you actually observe them, and they're amazing birds, including some big swans and Canadian geese and all kinds of birds there. So what it has given me is a new meaning in terms of connecting with things that actually matter to me. And then after that, my work starts. My professional work starts after I do all these in the morning. So I strongly feel that this is something that you know is never going to be enough. And I strongly feel that I like to make it even more and more as part of me in the years to come.
Very well said. Thank you for leading by example. So, I mean, this validates your book and your workshop even further. Well, it's been a pleasure again having you back on our show talking about seven essentials and also about your upcoming workshop. I have one final question for you. I mean, again, if we come back to technology, I would say we can sometimes get lazy because it's all about instant gratification. And you just mentioned, it does take time to once you get into the program, it becomes, a habit. But what would you say to our viewers who say they cannot be bothered with it because maybe the results take time to show?
The only thing I would say is that that our priorities in life are very important. And what you'll find as you grow a little bit older and wiser, that connecting with these seven essentials always matters, because they are life giving. Whereas if you spend all your time on technologies, it may not be the best thing ever for you. So I think connecting with things that actually matter is actually important. So as we get older, we realize that that's why a lot of people go back to the basics when they get older. So my only advice will be to focus on all these seven essentials. It doesn't have to take the whole day. Just even a small amount of time will do a lot of good to you in the long run. So connect with things that actually matter for a happier, healthier, and a vibrant living.
Very well said. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Gorain, for talking to us. We wish you all the best with the workshop, and I'll be there.
Thank you, Amitha. Thank you. Take care.
So that was Dr. Barun Gorain, who has inspired us today to take up the Seven Essentials 7I program, either through his book, The Seven Essentials to Transform Your Life, or now you have a live workshop. Well, that's a wrap for this week's show. Thank you for watching us. Continue to follow us on Facebook and write to us at spotlight@ethnicchannels.com, and also check us out on Twitter. Until next week, this is Amitha signing off, encouraging you to connect with things that matter.